皆様こんにちは、大阪フィルハーモニー交響楽団クラリネットトップ奏者の、船隈慶と申します。今日はですねダニエルさんのお時間をお借りしまして、今年4月に、アーティストインレジデンスに就任されるということで、クラリネット奏者ならではのお話など、いろいろインタビューできたらと思って、この場を設けさせていただきました。Okay, let's start.
Okay. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Yes, it's great to see you again here. We had performance maybe already 2 years ago. It was very it was sensation for us to play with you. You sounded so great, and I want to ask you, what was your impression about Osaka Philharmonic Orchestra?
Well, it's always special, I think, when there is a connection between the soloist and the orchestra and the conductor. If this happens, it's not very often that it's like really a click, you know, that everything fits together. But if this happens, then it's a very special moment, of course. And I think that's why we all play music. That's why this is our profession, because we're looking for these special moments, you know. This is what we do. And I had the feeling with last time when I was with Osaka Philharmonic and playing the Couplet Concerto, it connected perfectly. So the orchestra was so much supporting musically this piece and my playing, and I was trying to do a lot of chamber music with the orchestra. So I felt really, really well, and I had the feeling it was a special moment for me, myself, and
for us too.
That's what I can feel now, that
so
for the orchestra
special.
it was also special.
Yes.
That's so nice that this came out as a product now, that I can come more often now as an artist in residence, and this is something very nice.
I want to ask you, maybe a stupid thing, but I noticed that you never use swab during performance.
Never use what?
Swab.
Swab. To clean the
clarinet.
Yeah.
Oh, how it's possible?
Well, I don't know. I think it's for a clarinet concerto. I think it would, for me, it would destroy the whole concerto style if I stop and I put the clarinet outside and do like this, you know. For me, this is for the performance. It's disturbing. So of course there's a risk, you know, because it can be some water inside, and then something happens. But I try to clean the clarinet before I go on stage very carefully, so that I don't need to do anything on the stage. Because, you know, I have the feeling many people in the audience, they would not understand what is happening, you know. They are not so much professional musicians, or they don't know about clarinet playing, and if I start to tear up the clarinet in front of them, they get scared, you know. What is he doing? Is it something wrong, you know? So I try not to use it, and till now I never had problems.
I thought you only for you water never come out.
Yeah, it is of course a danger, as I said. It can happen, but I think for this 20 minutes clarinet concerto, 25 minutes sometimes, it should be okay.
So you usually use during the orchestra performance or chamber music?
During the orchestra performance, I use it, yes. When I'm sitting in the opera, but you know, then I'm not so much on the focus, I'm not so much in the middle of attention. So when I'm sitting in the pit, or when I'm sitting in the big orchestra, it's not a problem when I just clean a little bit. But for this 20-25 minutes, I think it's good not to use it. Just also for the whole performance view for the audience. You know, I think it's for me it's better not to use it in this case.
Yes, thank you. And another thing I noticed that I thought this impression: you were a friend with the atmosphere, and you're a friend with the hall and those things. And I think you travel to world every year, and you go to many countries, and you play in many halls, and those things are new for you. Like first, I want to ask you, how do you adjust things and to fit the whole? And
you know, I think the best way to adapt to certain halls and to atmospheres and also to temperature or to anything is not to think about it.
Oh, wow. I never thought of it.
The easiest thing is
okay.
don't care. You know, I try really not to adapt too much. Not to.
Okay.
If I go in a new hall, of course you can be very sensitive. Oh, it sounds different here, and maybe it's too dry, or it's the acoustic is different like in the other hall. Best thing is forget it.
Okay.
Just try to focus on your playing, on
Yes.
playing music. I think I always use a material which I'm very comfortable with. Doesn't depend on the hall. Doesn't just I'm comfortable with. And in the end, it will be the best solution because you feel comfortable. And the most important thing is that you self feel comfortable. Don't adapt too much to the circumstances. This is my advice. So this is how I deal with it.
That's a great advice for me.
But it's so simple. It's so simple.
I always care about temperature and humidity and my result today.
I think it's most important to care about how you feel with your instrument. And if you feel well, if you have your material that you usually use, you know, if you are very comfortable with this, then the adaptation to the hall is not necessary. I think it will come naturally. If you feel well, you will adapt to the hall while playing. That's my feeling. I also have. I will say something maybe strange now, but I feel that these acoustic checks from the orchestras in the halls, I think the orchestra would not need it. Because I have always the feeling that before the concert you make a lot of acoustic checks, you know, and I think the orchestra, a good orchestra, they from the first sound, if they play in the hall, they adapt immediately. They don't have to get told, oh, you have to play a little louder and you have to play a little less. I think the orchestra would adapt from themselves. So I think this acoustic sensibility, I think it's too much. I think it should be just a natural way of you know, everybody's feeling well and let's play this hall and tomorrow we play this hall. It's not much difference maybe.
That's a great advice. Thank you so much. So you usually don't change anything up to the hall, like small hall and big hall and in orchestra, chamber music. So
I change a little bit. I have a material for my activities in my orchestra, which is a little. The material is a little more sensitive, a little.
What do you mean sensitive?
Yeah, and you have to. I think in the orchestra it's very important that you mix with the other woodwind players and the orchestra. So you have the sound has to be very a very fine and a very sensible sound. You know, that's what I think. And I have another material for playing solo, because as a soloist, it's important that you always stand out a little bit, and it's not so important to mix with the orchestra. Of course, you have to play with the orchestra, but you have to be the soloist. So I have a material which is kind of stronger and more open. You know, if we talk as a clarinet player, the mouthpiece is a little more open, so you can play with a little more sound. So these are my two materials, but I never change them. I say this is my orchestra material and this is my solo material, and the chamber music is mostly the solo material. So
I see.
Mostly. This is how but I don't change with these two. So I have my two materials since I think 15 years, and I stay with this. So.
Wow, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I think our audience want to know your background and how did you start clarinet, and when did you start clarinet?
Well, my father was a clarinet player, so
one of the most famous.
He was a very well-known clarinet player, also in Vienna, and the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra, solo clarinet player. So the instrument was always there since I was born, you know. And I had the feeling that, or my father had a great way of showing us that the job as a musician is a very beautiful job, you know. It's a very beautiful way of earning your money, earning your life. It's a very you bring people to love or to enjoy something when you perform, and this is something nice, and that's what he showed us very much. So my feeling, as I can remember, was always to to want to do the same thing because it's so cool. You know, it's
Yeah.
you travel around the world, you bring people to enjoy music, and it's a nice life. You have nice colleagues in the best
Yeah.
way. Sometimes you don't have nice colleagues, but mostly you have them. So this was my goal also, because I liked so much what he was doing, and I connected, of course, with the instrument, of course, because it was there. So this was the way I always wanted to do this. And yes, and my father, of course, and also my mother, they supported me, of course, very much. And yeah, this was the beginning, and I never regret this decision.
Wow. Did you play any other instrument other than clarinet?
Yeah, I started with piano because
Piano,
you know, all my parents and the whole family, they were very musical family. So the piano was like brushing your teeth, you know, every day a little piano. This was very normal. But yeah, and then I played some cello as well. I tried some cello, but I always wanted to play clarinet, so I didn't want to go too much with the cello. So I changed to the clarinet as soon as possible, and this was my instrument then. Yeah.
Like, how old did you start?
I was quite late because my father said, wait a little bit. I wanted to play, you know, and he said, no, not too early. Let's wait till the teeth are grown, you know. So I started only with 11 actually. I was quite late. But before I played piano and cello, so it was like a big wish. And with 11 I got this wish fulfilled, you know. It was this was a very nice gesture also, because I had the feeling I could now start on my own and play the instrument that I want to play.
So for me, to be an orchestra musician is my dream, has been my dream, and for you, like to become orchestra musician was something important, or?
Yeah, as I said, I also very often as a child saw my father playing in the orchestra,
Yes.
you know. So this was I somehow grew up with the orchestra. It was always around me. I knew all the members. So they were like coming and touching my head. And, oh, you're the son of Ernst, you know, like this. So it was a very good atmosphere, and I always had the wish to be part of this orchestra once. And
so yeah. How did you feel when you play with Vienna Philharmonic first time?
Yeah, first time I can remember very well. I was playing the Mahler Symphony No. 9 on the second clarinet with Peter Schmiedl, who was the teacher of my father, and he was solo clarinet player in Vienna. And the funny thing is that I got his position then. You know, when he retired, I got his position. So the first time I played, he was playing solo, and I was playing second clarinet. I was 16, so very young. And the first time sitting in the orchestra, what's happening here? And Bernhard Haitink was conducting Mahler, so I was very impressed. And this was a very great memory for me. And of course, this also, I got more and more developed the wish to be part of this orchestra. Also, then I was only, of course, helping out. It was not a fixed member, but then when I was 20, there was this audition, and this was of course very nice that I had the opportunity to get the position.
You're famous as an orchestra player and a chamber music player and a soloist. Do you feel any difference between those things?
Yeah, well, I'm very happy that I can play all the three things that you just mentioned, because I think as a clarinet player, it's you have so much repertoire when you have all these three together. But if you're only solist, then it's not much actually. Then you can only play Mozart and Weber, maybe Copland, and then it gets less and less, because we don't have so many famous concertos. So to be only a soloist would be not enough for me from the repertoire. So I'm very happy that I have this rich amount of music from the chamber music. We have beautiful music from Brahms to Mozart, everything, and you have the opportunity to play all kinds of music. And then of course playing in the orchestra, in this great orchestra with these great conductors and the great singers, because we play in the state opera, of course. So as a clarinet, you know, of course, we have a lot of solos, and a lot of big moments for the clarinet, which is very beautiful. So all together, these three parts are very fulfilling, you know. And I would miss one part if I couldn't do, for example, chamber music. Then I would miss this a lot. So this is important for me.
You travel to many places. How do you deal with like jet lag, and do you have any tip for that?
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. I have the feeling it changes all the time. Sometimes I had good phases when I came to Japan or other countries. It was no problem to change time zone. But sometimes I had like now I came to Japan. I had really problems with I couldn't find any sleep. So I don't know what's the best way. I was talking a lot with my colleagues as well. Everybody has different ways to deal with it. But to be honest, I don't have any clue what is the best way. It's just actually it's also maybe the same what we talked at the beginning. Let's not think too much about it. You just come here and you try to get to deal with the circumstances. Sleep when you can sleep. When you cannot sleep, then do something else. It's I think the clue is to stay relaxed, not to be like, oh, I have to sleep. Then you cannot sleep.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's difficult. It's difficult to travel so much and deal with these time zones. It's not easy, I think. Yeah.
What do you do usually during the long flights? And
when I fly, I think it's also, you know, when you have long flights, you can see it as a waste of time, but you can also see it as a gift that you have free time. You know, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You can turn your mobile off, and you can just sit and watch a movie maybe or read something. So I always try to take it as a free time, some little holiday, you know, in the plane, just relax, you know.
That's great. Yeah.
I try.
Do you have any favorite movies?
I'm not so much a movie guy actually. I like this very much, the movie Interstellar. You know, have you seen it?
Yeah.
With Matthew McConaughey playing it. Because I think it's a great movie, and it's great music also.
Yeah.
The music is from Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer is the great composer of the music, and the music with the movie and the scenes, it's fantastic. I think I watched it 5 times, so I was. It's one of my favorite movies. Yeah. What's yours? What's your favorite?
My favorite at this moment. What?
Are you watching a lot of movies? Or
I usually use Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. Yeah. And they have a lot of movies, but also series. They have. Did you watch the House of Cards? I like this very much. House of Cards. This is very good. House of Cards. But it was on another streaming platform. But they have very good series at the moment. The movies are good, but the series are getting better and better. So, yeah. But sometimes I also enjoy just reading, old school. You know, just reading a good book is also sometimes good.
That's great. Concert coming up with Osaka Philharmonic.
Yes.
So we have 3 concerts. First one is in July.
Yes.
Subscription concert, Weber concert number 2. And another thing is also in July. You play with as an artistic advisor.
Yes.
What's your ambition, or what's your?
Well, I'm looking forward to this because I don't want to interfere too much, you know, because you're all great musicians, and I don't want to play the big professor or something. But maybe I have some experience from my orchestra as well, and maybe I can give some interesting tips or some interesting information that I just got from great conductors or from my colleagues. This could be maybe interesting to have some talk about certain little parts, you know, and this I'm looking forward to this because it's also for me very interesting how another orchestra works, you know. I always played only in my orchestra, so this is very interesting for me to share some thoughts on this. And it's a good opportunity not only to come as a soloist and play concerto and leave, but to have more interaction, you know, with all the musicians. So I'm looking very much forward to this chance.
Yeah, we are very much looking forward to working with you.
Great.
And I heard you're also interested in education thing.
Yes, I mean I'm not teaching actually. I'm not a teacher at the moment because just my time doesn't have enough capacity. but of course it's very important and always very interesting also to help younger players to not even to teach them, but to give some inspiration or motivation. I think this is our job as clarinet players, to inspire young people, or to give them a motivation to practice, or how to practice, and so I think this is important, and always a very big motivation also for myself to bring some motivation and some inspiration to young people.
I bet you're a super busy person. How do you find the practice time? Like,
my dear manager Hiromi always says that she never hears me practicing. she's like this. But the thing is, I have the feeling that it's very important, or for me it was important in my life, to practice a lot when I was young. You know, to have a good basic technique and a basic feeling for the clarinet. If you have this basic, my father always said, practice now because it's gonna be easier when you're older, you know? And this was very, very smart, because you don't have the time, and you also don't have the possibility when you're older to learn things. This is too late.
Oh,
it's important to learn them when you're young. I think this is, again, also for educational thing, as you said, maybe an important advice, that try to get the best basic you can as a young clarinet player, because later on, also, for example, it's also funny to the clarinet concertos. If you learn them by heart, you know, by heart, when you're older, with 30 or 35, it's much harder. It's so difficult.
Yes.
For example, I learned these Weber concertos. I learned by heart when I was very young already, like with 16 or 17. So I have them in my head. They will never go out. It's like it's like a language. When you learn a language when you're young, you will have no problems with it to speak forever. But if you learn something when you're older, then it's much more difficult.
Yes.
So that's maybe also a reason. If you have a good technique and a good basic, then it's maybe not necessary to practice so much when you're older. You just have to keep the level, and like a sportsman, actually, it's like a sportsman who has to keep his level and has to train to be on the same level, you know.
Yes.
And this is something that, and it's always important to know how much you need, you know, how much is important to have a very good level. This is how much, because you don't want to practice too much. It's also boring to practice too much. So it's important to keep the level, to have a good feeling how to keep your level in the same way. So of course I practice also now, but just the amount that I need to stay in shape. So this is I think important.
Do you do anything other than music?
Yes, it's so important to do something else. So what do you think? I think it's so important to not only be in the music world. It's so healthy to do other things. I from personal feeling, I have to do a lot of sports. I love to do sports. Like I'm biking a lot up the hill, and I also used to play a lot of soccer, football. Nice. But this is getting less and less, because when you're younger, then it's better. You're faster. So now I try to change to biking and running a little bit. So this is very good for me. Are you doing something else? Clarinet playing?
I'm thinking to do that. Yeah.
Sports as well.
Sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to bike. Bike is very good. I have the feeling, because you can do it outside and also inside, and for me it's a very good sport. You can listen to something, you know, some music or some podcast, and just bike. It's very good. I like it. I like it a lot to have it as another balance, you know, because if you're just clarinet, then it's not healthy. I think it's not healthy. Yeah. Also not good for the clarinet, because you need some to go away, go to a different place, and then you're very fresh to come back. So I think it's very important.
Thank you so much. So thank you so much for taking time.
Thank you.
I'm very much looking forward to working with you this year.
Me too. I'm so happy to come back now more often to Osaka and share some good music and some nice time with all the musicians and the audience. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.